So I had my other radio in here, which was the monitor, and the monitor, I guess, is a little outdated. It's silver here instead of black. I mean, I could have taken it apart and epoxied it black, but apparently some people didn't like the old-fashioned look of it, and they wanted something more contemporary. So I basically am taking this back apart and putting a new and improved unit. And this one was cut, but once again I will show you again how to recut it, because I've changed my methods. And this cutting would be for the radio above. Watch my bald head. No comments, please. Radio above the AC, and this has a storage unit here. I call this one the 129 R129, just keeping with the 129 chassis. Hopefully down the road I can do the 107. I think it's close to this one. So anyway, I'm taking my screws out here. I already had the switches taken out earlier. Drop this down to the first gear. Oh wait, sorry, to drive, and then once you pop it up, then you can reposition this. Like I said, this was cut once before, but I'll go ahead and show you again. The clips are always right below the switch here. Some people grab it here, some people try to pick it up here, some people try to do it from here, and that's when you get your stretch cracks along the roads. So basically right here is where those clips are designed. So, and that's how easy it is. Okay, and then the clearance would be here. Of course, since I have the switch plate, my clearance is a little tight, but go like that, and then I'll drop this down to get it out of my way. Okay, and then obviously once you get that position, you should cover all your woods. Mine's in the trunk right now. My protection. I always use protection. There. What I'm doing is I'm using two hands. Instead of try and grab it like this and yank, I'm using two hands and I'm wiggling it out. I like to wiggle, like so. Okay. And this one I've put in like 100 times. This is my test piece. So after 100 times, I have a slight little chip up here, which is from wedging it in there too tight. And I got some chipping out along here, right there, which I can epoxy. I had an issue with the door, which I solved that problem. The doors usually go all the way to the top here and smack. So I've actually filled in that section, so when the door opens, it basically stops, so it doesn't hit anymore. And basically that's because, let me see if I can show you. Right here, there should be a 16th inch notch. And what I did was, I filled that all in, so that way there, when this opens up, it stops at that 16th inch notch that I made and gives me the clearance I need, so it doesn't smack all the time. I never did like it smacking even before. I guess that was a mistake they made. Anyhow, here's the opening. As you can see, there's a lot of room in there. The one problem is this bar. The bar to the face plate, not protruding from the face plate, but to the face plate, is 4 inches and 3/4, 4.75 to here. And then some people say, well, if I cut the bar out, then I get more room. But actually you don't, because up above here is the harness and the AC ductwork. So all you're gaining is another 1/2 inch. You get 5 1/4 inches. So if you're going to be using a different type of unit, you may want to go and get the what I call the 129 R129, which is basically the AC is in its normal location and the radio is down below here. When you're doing a cutting for that one, which I haven't tested yet, but you will leave the AC bracket and just cut out where the radio is going to go. You still have this issue here, which is this one. I guess that's a vacuum line for opening and closing the damper. I guess, I don't know what damper it opens. I never really changed any of my switches here. You know, the only one usually is for the defrost. So I guess if I wanted to, I could probably relocate this. I could probably unscrew it and then just drop it back in this back corner, because I guess it really doesn't need to be attached. I know some of you are saying, oh my god, it needs to be. Yeah, I guess it really does. I take that back, because I guess if there's a damper in there, there's a door that opens and closes. So if that doesn't affect my aircon going up to here, I would probably just remove it and put some silver tape over it and call it a day. But maybe the next one I do, I'll try that, and then I'll let you know whether I want to do that or not. What I have done is I had an old Alpine in here, and they really like bastardized my wiring in 2006. So I put all my wires back to factory, which is these three here: the antenna, the CD player, the harness itself, and of course there was one other one for the CD player, which was the fiber optics. That's rolled back, and I stuck it back here, way in the back, because I don't need that one. So this is basically the wiring harness, which I'm going to set off to the side for right now. This black wire that I'm playing with right now is actually my microphone wire, and I put my microphone basically, where is it? Right here. I took the old one out and I mounted this stereo one here. Okay. Excuse that dirty hands and whatever that was. Sorry guys. I'm using my iPhone with a that shows it, with a selfie extension pole, which I actually saw on eBay. So once you get everything out, you can see that the AC that was up here, there's one, and then two, are actually long enough to go all the way down. So I'm going to set those off to the side. I'll push everything back in a minute, and I'm going to address the cutting again. Your hazards is the shortest one, so your hazard will fit down yonder. Oops, down yonder. Sorry, you can tell I lived back east for a while. So you can. I usually leave it in the first three spots. The other shortest one is the ESP. It won't reach down here. Some people want me to put the holes here. So there's one that I'm actually making that actually the holes are going to go down here. And so some of these harnesses will have to be expanded, which is pretty easy to do if you do a double clip and wire one at a time. It works pretty quick. I did it with some other switches in here. Of course, your top wire is also too short to go down there, so that will have to be extended. These two wires obviously will stay here. This is your window switch wire. This is your convertible top wire, which is right there. Window switch wire, and your mirror is right there. Okay. Where's all my other wires? The other one that I have would be the door lock. The door lock is plenty long enough to go down here. The door and the trunk release, which I think is a joke. I press my button and it goes, yeah, and that's it. So I guess it needs some work. But these are long enough to go down here if somebody wanted to put them in here. So there are three harnesses basically that would fit here, two harnesses that would fit here. The rest of them are too short. But everything, as you can see, is long enough to be dropped down. Okay, this here is a cigarette lighter. This one here, which I got rolled up and clamped off to the side. This is a cigarette lighter. They had some stereo equipment attached to it, so I taped it up, and I soldered and taped it up. All my connections were soldered. That's the way I like to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything back in here. Oh yeah, if you notice, can you see that? I have a 12 volt unit here. So that's where my cigarette lighter will get plugged back into. So I have someone that wants to charge their unit, they can charge their unit here. So I have a 12 volt there, which sticks out a little bit here. Okay, so let's go ahead and push all this back in for right now. I kind of explain all the wires. Don't get stressed out. The wires are pretty self-explanatory. And how I feed them into my unit, it's basically like a needle and thread. And everybody has sewn on a button. So that's it. Once you open this up, if you want to vacuum it out, clean it up, you can. This here is your airbag sensor down here. So, we'll love to take this piece off and have it color matched. I think it's this and this one and this one to take them off. I'll have to Google it to figure it out. Okay, so this is my speaker wire, which I already ran. I did that yesterday. I will be taking out these two units here up above. These two I'll be taking out just basically so I can get a video shot of it going downwards, so we can actually check clearance and how the wires look nice and neat. To take this apart, it's pretty simple. You pry this plastic piece off with don't use a screwdriver. Okay, there's a little clip that you can buy, a little needle with a 90-degree angle, and this comes off, and there's a screw here, and there's a screw here, and then there's a screw here. Oh, I'm sorry, let me raise this up. There we go. So you take your 90-degree pin and pry this piece off, and then there's a screw in the corner, and there's a screw in this corner, and then there's a screw here, and there's a screw here. And what you do is you wiggle this piece out and unscrew this, and this piece comes out, and there's an ILL light wire and an AC control wire that you disconnect. And that'll take this whole piece out, so you have a nice mouth to see behind, and all this is clear and you can see behind. I'm going to do that so I can actually see down below how close I get to the bar, and for you guys to see how close it gets to the bar. You don't have to do that, but like I said, if you want to, you can. The last time I took this all out, I actually cleaned everything and alcohol rubbed it all down. I had a hole back here, which I guess it's from the old iPod, and I filled it in here, which basically I'll be re-drilling another hole, but instead of having a hole that was almost 2 inches by 1.25 inches, I'm just going to have a 5/8 hole. That's big enough to get the USB wire through. Also in this corner here, I bought a USB and the 3.5 jack that actually I'm going to mount right in this corner. And what that's going to be for, if someone comes and has an old school phone, they can plug it in and use it, and the USB will actually go down to the radio. So if I want to use it for MP4 videos, I can do that. I'm going to try and get it back far enough back where I can actually, semi-close this, but most likely it'll have to be open if I'm using that component. I can actually mount it down below if I want to somewhere. So let me put that back. If I want to, I can actually take that piece of that board. I could probably mount it here, or mount it, here somewhere. Or if I want to get fancy, instead of using this for the 12 volts, like I did here, I could actually probably take this out and just flush mount it. It's the same size as a 12 volt cigarette